Hello, everyone, and welcome back to day 2 of Becoming Firmly Rooted Challenge. Lori and I absolutely love these experiences. And wasn't yesterday great? I just love when you get to look at who you are and get to know who you are. It's really, really powerful. And so we're going to teach day 2, and then we're going to do our conversations about day 1 so that we get day 2 done in a timely fashion. So I'm going to send it off to my beautiful counterpart here.
Yes, this is one of my favorite topics. So I'm really going to take this one today and talk to you a little bit about, when we think about becoming firmly rooted, we think about establishing safety. And safety comes from, really having somebody by your side, somebody who is there for you, someone who knows you, someone who understands your needs, someone who can meet those needs without fail. Right? That would be if we all had that person beside us, just and that we could count on day in and day out, no matter what, right? And sometimes we look for that and say, until I have that outside person, I can't feel safe. Or sometimes we put it in a life circumstance, things have to be going perfect for me, or not perfect, but I have to have these certain things, these criteria met, these certain circumstances in my life before I can feel safe and grounded and firmly rooted. Or, it needs to be this much money, or my body needs to look a certain way, or I have to have this, type of health. Whatever it is. And we've all done this from time to time. And many of us, that's all we've ever done. The only sense of safety and being firmly rooted in the world have come from these outside sources. And what we're really talking about here this week is the incredible ability to be that person, that force of safety, security, having that feeling of being firmly rooted in yourself, and that person being you, and you knowing that no matter what is going on around me, I got me. I know how to deal with this. I have confidence and clarity. And even if things feel a little upside down, I know I'm going to work them out because of who I am and because I know how to meet those needs. I'm in touch with them. So that's kind of the, high level overview of the entire week. But today, what we really want to talk about is, what are the components of that relationship? And they're the same as you would think of with a relationship with another, except that it's with yourself. So what are some of the first things you do when you start to build a relationship, or think about the really stable, awesome relationships that you do have? One of the main components of that relationship is the person. You get to know them. You ask questions. You stay up late talking about, how old were you when, all the things, right? And you get to know what their values are, their strengths, their fears, all the things about them. And the more you know them, the more you feel secure with them, the more you feel connected, the more you are right in deep relationship with that person. So that's what we want to do with ourselves. And you're like, wait a minute, I spend every minute of every day with myself. Of course I know myself, or whatever kind of, it might seem kind of strange or foreign to you to be thinking about the concept of getting to know yourself. But it's actually not that easy. It's surprising. We don't actually pay that close attention to ourselves a lot of times. We let outside influences tell us who we should be. And we start that at such an early age that sometimes we have no idea who we actually are. Mia, any thoughts on that? Because it's something that we see and we work with people all the time. And sometimes people are aware that they don't know who they are. And sometimes it doesn't occur to them until we really start pulling it out of them, and they really start to think about some very basic but important aspects of what makes you you.
It's really incredible because first of all, we're all raised completely different, right? Because we have different parents and a different environment. So it's different and it's unique, but some people, I was one of them, did not actually have a relationship with my body. I was an athlete, but I listened to my mother. I did what I was told to do. I didn't know who I was. When this whole concept of self-love came up to me, I think it was in the 80s when Oprah Winfrey started talking about it on air. I was like, that is the weirdest stuff. And yet I kept trying to practice it. And as I got to know myself, what opened up, well, you all know, and you'll all always hear me, and same with Lori, is an incredible person came out, and I love her. But before that, I wasn't aware of my body. I wasn't aware of I was aware of my spiritual essence, but I wasn't even aware of my mentality or my emotional intelligence. My emotional intelligence, I had none. I would just relive, like so many people, the trauma that I had during my life. And so it's unique and beautiful to build this relationship. The first word that came to me when I had heard about opening up so that you can know yourself truly, I literally thought was mental illness.
Mm.
It felt so foreign, it felt so weird, and yet part of me trusted it enough. I guess that was maybe the spiritual awareness, kept saying, come on, come on, come on. And so as I worked it, right, and a lot of you see me break out in tears when I'm emotionally overjoyed or something so beautiful. That's because I've spent the time to get to know what beauty is. And it is me. I was going to say it's not me. It is me, and it's you, and it's Lori. It's the person on the iPhone. It's Sandy. It's Anna. It's Julia. It's PD up there. It's each and every one of us. I remember, if I can just throw this in to show how our world has changed in the last 14 years. When I started coaching and teaching self-love and beauty and everyone is beautiful, I used to have a barrage of men saying, oh, really? Is that really true? And then they would send me pictures of like the ugliest woman they could find. And I would say, what are you doing? So it's changed. The conversation has changed over time. One, because the world has become aware, but guess what? I don't attract that crap anymore. And so it's really beautiful.
Amen.
And that's what you guys need to know is you're going to attract what you're creating.
Absolutely. Yes. And when you're connected with your truth, you're drawing in the things that are aligned with you. No more, of drawing in people who don't show up for you, situations that you don't want. They can't find you. They are no longer, able to kind of penetrate this beautiful sphere that you have created for yourself, this place of protection and being firmly rooted. So let's get really down to today's topic, which is, getting to know you and opening up to that. And regardless of where you think you are on this, I'm going to invite you to kind of approach it with a beginner's mind and to say, maybe I don't know myself fully. Maybe there's something else for me to discover. And really, with an open mind and open heart, ask the question, set that beautiful, firm, loving intention. I want to know you better. And so we always think about when you're in touch with your true essence, the authentic self, we think of that as the greatest self. And that's what we call it, because when you're connected there, you have access to all your power. You have access to all the beauty of what you are, your values and your strengths, your superpowers. So we use that. You can think of when we say greatest you, that means who you are when you are the truest version of you, who you are when you're most deeply connected to that inner wisdom that is in each and every one of you, who you are when you feel like, yeah, this is the person I was meant to be. This is the best version of me. That doesn't mean the me that never makes mistakes or the me that achieves the most. Not at all. The best version of me means the one that is most in alignment with the gifts that I've been given. Who you are when no one's looking, who you are when you feel free, connected, and alive, who you are when you are in that beautiful zone of just feeling, oh, I'm so content. I'm so joyful. And maybe you don't feel that way a lot, or maybe some of you, and I do work with a lot of people, Mia and I do, where they say, I don't know what that feels like. I don't even know what it would feel like to have a moment of peace and serenity, feeling like I'm like everything is good and I'm okay. And that's all right too, because we can all get there. So it doesn't matter where you are, but know that that's what we're striving for. That's your navigation system. When you're feeling those things, you know you're connected to your greatest self. And it's, as Mia was saying, we all grow up in different atmospheres and with different circumstances. And so, the question becomes, how did I get disconnected, right? Because when we're babies, we're fully connected with who we are. It's all we know, right? And then over time, we start to really become in touch with how our actions, how our words affect the other people around us. And because we're very social beings, driven into our DNA is the need to fit in and please other people. Okay, that this was actually a really good instinct, something that is, part of our genetic makeup to one degree or another. And that was necessary when we lived in tribal settings, because if we were excluded from the group, it was almost like a death sentence to survive on your own, right? Even a minor illness or injury could mean a death sentence because we couldn't go out and gather our food.
And the loneliness would drive
Oh,
people
absolutely.
crazy.
It is a foundational need. And so we were automatically kind of set up to make sure everybody likes us, right? So that we don't get kicked out. And then, some environments made it a little bit hard for us to stay connected with the authentic self. If parents, siblings, teachers, other influencers weren't tolerant of your thoughts or your self-expression, you may have learned to have to silence those feelings, to kind of tuck them away and then behave in ways that didn't create conflict. Or in some people's cases, to completely rebel against what was being put on them. But in either case, it wasn't really acting from that truth of who they are, the authentic greatest self. So, over time, thousands of these messages all the time. And they weren't just, overt messages where it said, you need to be this. It was the example that was being set. It was the little commercial that you just, caught your attention for a second. It was all of these thousands of messages over time. It could really sunk into your being and started to block your full access to your authentic greatest self. So, your civic self was also shaped by cultural norms, by the books you were reading, by the images that you were seeing. And so over time, you kind of got a really good sense of who you needed to be, right? And maybe tucked away or had less access to who you truly were. And like I said, that's a spectrum, but it occurs for all of us to some degree or another. So it's, likely as we navigate and go through life that those messages of what we call the civic self, which means the self that's really concerned about our outside influences, the messages of the civic self become easier and easier to hear. And the message of the authentic self becomes harder and harder to hear until all that's left is just that whisper. But that whisper never goes away. And that's what Mia was saying. Everything in my reality was screaming, no, this is weird. This isn't right. But it deep inside, that voice that knew truth said, keep going anyway. There's something important here. And we all have that. So we want to train you and we want to open up that space so that little voice, that smart, beautiful, divine voice can be heard more and more. And that's how we get connected to who we truly are. Now, don't get me wrong. None of this is to say, the civic self is wrong or that it's completely unnecessary, right? It's not even negative, because some level of going along with the crowd, following the rules, being sensitive to others, it's necessary if we want to have good relationships. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, finding that healthy balance between authentic self and civic self, where we are taking care of our needs in consideration of the others that are in our lives. And so with that in mind, our integration work, which Mia is going to go over a little bit, is all about helping you just open the door. There's so much in this area, and we really go into it a lot in The Greatest You. It's the foundation, one of two foundations, this and the nervous system, which we'll talk about on another day. But it is one of the foundational pieces, because if you're acting and you're trying to create things in your life, if you don't know who you are, you're not going to be creating the right things for you. You're going to be out there creating things that don't fit you or striving for things that when you get them, They don't bring that meaning and fulfillment that you were after in the first place by seeking them, because it's not in alignment with who you really are. So foundationally, knowing who you are, and also, having a regulated nervous system, which is something we'll get into, are the two foundational pieces from which you build everything else that you want in your life. So that's what today is about. And remember how this plays into becoming firmly rooted, right? If you're not firmly rooted, how do you have clarity about the direction to how to make decisions, about setting boundaries, about who should be in your life, about anything, right? If you don't know what is true to you and what suits you, it's not a very safe world, right?
I want to jump in just for a second.
Yeah, and then tell us about the integration.
Oh, okay, great. So you guys, when you become rooted in yourself firmly, securely, powerfully, people who you once felt that you could not be without, but yet you knew that there was issues there or things, can sometimes just appear to you as they truly are, not the greatest person for you to be with, or in your friendship line or whatever. And it's easy to move on and open up for someone else. And I'm talking about friendship too, not just about relationship with a mate. So the beauty of that is when you understand yourself in that respect and that love, everything comes towards you to support that. We talk about this all the time. You've heard it from hundreds of other people if you do a lot of online stuff, not just us. So it's got to be some form of a fact. So understand that as you create, so much beauty comes in. And if you're feeling stagnant or stuck or frustrated or this is too much, go back to why you want to open yourself up to the beauty that you truly are, to the work, to this type of work. So I love what today's integrated homework is so much that I mentioned it yesterday and it didn't show up because I was just talking from knowing how our program runs. Okay, I pulled up the wrong one. Let me see. Okay, so I talked yesterday briefly, along with the questionnaire that we had, that we would have a few quizzes. Well, that's what today is about. And these quizzes are really amazing. The first one is it's a survey that you do on yourself on a character reference about who you are. So as you work through that survey, you get the results and you get to reflect on what type of a person you are. It's really beautiful when you can see positive things show up, because all of a sudden you're like, wow, I didn't know that I was already showing this type of energy or commitment. And then the next one is about it's from 16personalities.com. I love this one. It really provided information for me when I did it the first time that Lori and I started using this, about the qualities and the space that I was in and who I actually was. I think you're going to be a little blown away. I'm coming back to look at you guys because I have to read my notes too. I think you're going to be blown away at how amazing you are. And so take that information and put it with your heart. But do these. These are very valuable, these quizzes, because you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And they're psychologically created. It's just not like willy-nilly. And so it's going to be fun for you to explore yourself in that area. And remember, you guys, to join our Facebook group if you're not in there and you're on Facebook. Post in there, put your discoveries up, put up your discoveries of your quizzes that you take today. Tell us. In fact, I'm going to put up there, what are you for this quiz and for the secondary quiz? So go in there and support yourself that way and allow others to support you as well. Remember to book a call with me. It's the site to our calendar is thegreatestyoucalendar.com. They're 20-minute accelerated calls that I get to support you and Lori gets to support you on creating the path to keep yourself moving forward. So they're really beneficial. Anything else, Lori?
Yeah, no, that is the work for today. And, doing these little things, this is as I said, a big topic, and there's a lot that you could dive into as far as understanding who you are and your values, your superpowers and stuff. But that's, when you're connected to that, that is the most important thing that you can really take with you into the rest of the week. So let's start to get to know you a little bit and really and entertain, these quizzes and the information that comes out of them. Usually people, they come across it and they're like, maybe I wasn't thinking about this, but yeah, I can really see how that is who I am, and it resonates in a really beautiful way. One other thing that I will say is just, really spend a minute or two getting grounded and thinking and getting as close to access to your greatest self, your most authentic self, before you start answering the questions, because we want to answer these questions from a place of truth and really being in touch with your authentic self, as opposed to what should I answer here? What, and not even what do I usually do, right? But who am I really? What really feels most in alignment with my core being, right? So not necessarily how you're showing up right now, because how you're showing up right now may not be the closest thing to alignment with who you truly are. So just have that in mind as you're going through there, and really set that intention as you sit down to do this work. I really intend here in this time to open up a space to my truth, to myself. And yes, I can't wait. I use that one of the tests that Mia says. I use them both a lot, but especially the Myers-Briggs, the 16 personality site, will give you a 4-letter description of your personality. And while everybody is unique, and I never, pigeonhole someone, it tells us so much about how you take in information, how you like to receive, different information, and the way you'd like to go about things. So it's really helpful for us to be able to support you to know what that type is. So I would love for all of us to put that in the Facebook group. Mia and I will share ours. And it's just fun when you get to know somebody on that level, as well as, what comes across. So we would love to see that. And whatever questions you have, whatever aha moments, whatever you want to bring to us that says, wow, I realize that I didn't know myself that well. I realize I'm inconsistent with my truth in these areas, or whatever it is. This is why we're here. We're here to explore these topics and really come into a place of being firmly rooted. We could talk to you all day, but unless you're sitting down and doing this is where the answers are, within you, not from us. The answers are within you. So this integration work and all the other integration work, we're big on integration work, because that's how we're never here to give you your truth. You're here to discover it through some of our suggestions.
And also understand that what you get today may not be what you get in a year. Why? Because you're growing, you're changing, you're shifting on these quizzes. I would not have gotten the ones that I acquired today, that, or, in this period of time, this year, this last 6 months, whatever, that I had gotten 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, but 10 years ago and before, it would have been different, because I've created myself to be the person that I want to be, or that is naturally me. When I remove those onion peels, out comes a brighter, shinier person. And so don't judge yourself on what you get. But also, it could be so amazing to be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that I was on that path. This is really cool. So no judging. Come to us tomorrow in your Q&A and enjoy the process, because we all shift and change. There was just a little quick thing. There was on the human design, I was always a manifester. Now I'm a manifester generator. How does that happen, right? It's because I've developed myself out further. So
Beautiful.
just so you know that things shift and change. Yeah.
All right, ladies, thank you for being here with us. We look forward to your
can I stay on and take questions if there are any? Are there any questions?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Do you want to stop the record or keep it?
No, I think we should. Let's keep it for now.
Okay, sure.
Does anyone have any questions? And if it's a private one, then we can always turn off the recording.
Who's excited
That's
about?
right. I don't have a question. Go ahead, Lori. What were you
No,
gonna
please,
say?
you first. I wanted to just,
Yeah, no, I just want to I just really want to commend the two of you. I mean, just the title, firmly rooted. I mean, we talk about grounded, we talk about connected, but rooted is so like, it's so like primitive. It's so basic. It's so foundational. It's where the vegetables and the trees, they're rooted, and this aspect of not just connected but firmly connected, like firmly rooted. I mean, just that, I got to just tell you that just that in and of itself just begins to open up an aspect of my mind, almost like opening a closet that's been closed and needs to be dusted and the cobwebs out. It's just been very opening to my consciousness. And this concept that you talked about today, Lori, that you mentioned about this aspect of starting with who am I? Not because, like I was thinking about, we tend to say, well, what do you do for your living? Oh, I'm an artist, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a painter, I'm a doctor. And we kind of take on the character of whatever we do.
you
But
do.
what I hear you asking us is not what you do, but who do you be? What is your being? What is your essence? And you're right. I've gotten lost in my civic self, and there are times that I welcome just going back and asking, who am I? Asking myself, who am I? And let my inner intelligence, my inner guidance tell me who like give me information. And Neil spoke about that and referenced that as well. And I just love it. And I just wanted to commend you, ladies. And I to tell you that the impact of the title and the commentaries today and yesterday have an impact. And I'm looking forward to digging into the integration work. Thanks.
Wonderful. That's
I
awesome.
love that. Thank you, Anna. And you're right. It is something, and that's what we're hearing from people. Like, they understand, it resonates with the soul. One of my favorite quotes is Marianne Williamson, where she says that the soul thrills at what it already knows. And what that is it's like when things come and hit us, it's like, I've never heard that before, never thought about it, never really contemplated it. But when it hit me, I was like, oh, I know this so deeply. And being firmly rooted is exactly, it's what we're all after. So we can, send out stuff about your emotions and about your thoughts and about your relationships. And all of that is very important. It's not that it's not, but at the root of it all, right? At the very core of everything that we want for our lives and everything that we've been striving for is really wanting to be firmly rooted. And when we're firmly rooted, everything else falls into place. And not only that, when things are not perfect, because we're not promising, right? That'd be ridiculous. Become firmly rooted in nothing, you'll never have another bad day again. That would be silly. We need life has all these experiences, but it's knowing how to navigate it and feeling safe, even when things are not exactly as we plan, being able to see it in a way it's like, oh, that's not how I imagined it. How am I going to learn from it and take it and use it to my advantage? That's what being firmly rooted is. So I love and I appreciate that you're sharing that with us, because we are always, so to speak, we have our ear to the ground, right? We're wanting to meet the needs of the people that we serve. So we're always looking for that and hearing what you're saying and trying to really meet the need where it is. So thank you so much. And one last thing, sorry, this is my favorite topic. So, but it's so interesting to me that we never really get done with this piece. We get firmly rooted, right? Where we really have a great sense of who we are. But then there are little things that's like, oh, wait a minute. I'm not in this one little area or in this one little situation. I can see how maybe I'm not being true 100% to myself, but we notice it and we know how to work on it so that we can be consistent. So it's not that, oh, I'm done and I never have to look at that again, right? And like Mia said, we're always changing. Circumstances change us. People that come into our lives change us. So we're ever evolving, and that's such a beautiful thing. And when we see it and welcome it, knowing because we're firmly rooted, we can always find that piece of us. We can always up level, and it's just a beautiful journey, as opposed to, that kind of sense like, oh no, I don't have clarity here. You can say, oh, I need to go within a little deeper to find my clarity here. And it's a beautiful, supportive, loving relationship when you're constantly striving to know you. I heard a wedding vow once that said, I promise to never know you. And I was like, to never assume that you're done, right? That this is who you need to be. And that's how I kind of approach the relationship with myself, right? I'm always open and never assuming that you need to be something. If it's not right for today, then it's not right for today. Or, what is it? So just such a beautiful aspect of the journey that we're all on, and something that, we're bringing to you in this day, but just understand that it's such a bigger, beautiful opportunity for your life to open up and blossom, and for you to feel secure and confident and in flow, which is the goal of the challenge.
And just as a tree, as Anna was talking about, the depth of the rooting of stuff, to look at it that way, a tree, when it's firmly rooted, can withstand the hurricane winds or the tornado winds or whatever comes at it. If it's not firmly rooted, it gets lifted up and tossed about.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful visual of how you perhaps might want to be in your life, right?
Yeah.
And so as you look at that, open up that it's okay. This is all okay. Whatever programming, whatever information you heard before from your upbringing or wherever, it's okay for you to be secure within yourself and firmly rooted. And remember that visualization of the tree. You can bend and go back and forth, but you're still in the ground as you're firmly rooted.
Yeah. I might ruffle my leaves, but that's no big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm going to turn off the recording.